Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now. Go to harrys.com/hamnation to get $5 off your first order. And by Icom. For more information, visit icomamerica.com/hamnation.
This is Ham Nation, episode number 260, August 10th, 2016. Randy shows us how to build a new little kit while we visit K3LR antenna. Good evening, everybody. That music you just heard was from our wonderful friend Joe Walsh, WB6ACU, who wrote the theme for our great show that we call Ham Nation. And I hope that you join us every week. This week is very special. We have some incredible videos, and we're going to answer a lot of questions that people have been sending in, like, we want to see some more smoke. Well, you're going to see lots of it tonight, and you're going to do it right off the bat. George and Randy got together here, so we're going to get into that. But first, let's go see who all's here. We'll just give you a little test of what's happening around the world here, meaning Don in Mississippi. Don, how you doing?
I'm good. It's rainy here. There's an upper-level tropical disturbance just off. Last night it was right around Mobile Bay, Mobile, Alabama, right on the coast. And thankfully, the circulation is like over land. If it was a little farther south, the Gulf is so warm, we would have a chance for something tropical. But thankfully, it's all on land, but we're getting a lot of rain, and I can hear a little bit of thunder outside, but that's all right. We're going to have Newsline, and I can't wait to see what George and Randy have up their sleeve, Bob. I'm pumped about that.
I am too. It's going to be good. And what's going on in Southern California, Gordo? What's going on?
All is well. We're ready for raining of the Perseids meteor shower tomorrow night. Get out there and look. I'm getting ready for weekend after next in Huntsville. This weekend is also the 54th annual Ham Fest for the Tri-State Amateur Radio Association in Huntington, West Virginia. Back to you, Bob.
Okay, we'll be back in a little bit because you're going to tell us about those microwave things, and we're not talking about things that cook. Well, we're just going to zip right on down to Mississippi. And George, let's see what you and Randy got cooked up. I'm really excited about this because there's a lot going on with this project. So, George, it's all yours.
Okay, Bob. Yeah, it's a fun project coming up tonight. I will give Randy all the credit for it because he's the one who's putting this one together. And as a matter of fact, if you like it, well, we're going to be giving away one tonight. Well, we're actually just going to be telling you how you can win one tonight. We'll give it away next week. But it's going to be fun. He's going to take several episodes to put it all together and explain it and then show how it works. So we're really looking forward to that. Like I said, we got some things to give away here, and right after it's over with, I've been playing with this week, and if you know what that is, even if you don't know what that is, I'm going to be talking about how it works this Friday night on Amateur Logic. Tommy and I are going to get together, and I'm going to explain to him how a triode amplifier works. So that'll be a lot of fun. I wish I had some tubes just laying around I could do some experimenting with, but I don't. All the tubes I've got are in amplifiers right now. So, maybe I can scrape something together and we'll actually burn our fingers with them one day. Well, right now, Randy has got a great project here for us that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hi, Randy, K7AGE. I thought I'd get out the soldering iron and build a kit. I've got something in this box. Let's take a look at what it is. In fact, you may want to build along. Let's take a look. For those of you who are ARRL members, you probably have this QST laying around the house. This is the July 2016 QST, and on the front cover is a lead article about the ZZRX40 40-meter direct conversion receiver designed by Greg Johnson, AA0ZZ. It's sold by the 4 States QRP Club, and I bought the kit. And this has been very popular. They have sold hundreds of these based on the QST article. So it's a very simple kit. Let's take a look at this in more detail. For the Ham Nation viewers, I'll just let you know that over on my K7AGE YouTube channel, I will also have a copy of this video, and it may end up being a little bit longer with a little more detail than what we're seeing tonight on Ham Nation. Quick look at the QST article. One of the first things you'll notice that the receiver is red. The receiver's case is made out of red printed circuit board material that you break apart and solder together to make the case. What's nice about the kit is that there's no surface mount parts. Everything's through hole, traditional parts that go through the holes in the PC board for soldering. There's no alignment necessary, and there's no coils to wind, no toroids. Sometimes this can be a challenge for a first-time kit builder. So looking at the block diagram, we see that the antenna is connected to an input filter. Now this is a fairly wide filter, and one of the reasons for that is to remove any alignment. So the filter is wide, you don't have to tune it. The filter then feeds into a mixer stage, and the mixer mixes the 40-meter signal with the local oscillator. And what comes out of the mixer is, of course, the sum and the difference, and what we're looking at, the difference here in a direct conversion receiver, is audio. So audio comes out of the mixer and goes into an audio amplifier, which can then go into a speaker or headphones. Now, what makes the direct conversion receiver a little bit different from a super heterodyne receiver that you may be familiar with is that there's no intermediate frequency and no IF filters. So as you tune through a signal, you'll hear the normal lower sideband signal, and you'll be able to understand what the people are talking. And as you tune through, you'll then move up to the higher frequency, and you'll hear the upper sideband signal, and you won't be able to make out what they're saying. So that's one of the fallouts of a direct conversion receiver. Okay, let's go look at the Foursquare QRP page. It's 4sqrp.com. You'll see when you go to the homepage many different projects they have. We're interested in the ZZRX-40 receiver. You go onto the webpage, it has a lot of information. It talks about a couple clubs have used this for a build-a-thon. One club, the Minnesota Amateur Radio Technical Society, built 20 kits, and the group at the Midland, Michigan Amateur Radio Club built 17 kits, and they say all the kits worked upon completion. So, yes, it can be done. From the Foursquare QRP website, you can download and print out the 25-page instruction manual. Now, you may not want to print them all out. You can probably, build this by following the PDF just off your computer. So the Foursquare QRP group is offering the Ham Nation viewers discounted pricing of this receiver kit. To order the kit, first thing you do is do not use what's on their webpage. That's the standard pricing. What you'll need to do is use PayPal and use that to send money. So send $47.30. This covers the receiver as well as shipping. This is for U.S. only shipments. And so you send the $47.30 to orders at 4sqrp.com. And in the notes section, please add the note, Ham Nation Build Group discount for the ZZRX-40 receiver. Now, if you have any questions or you can't, or maybe you wish not to use PayPal, you may contact Johnny Matlock, AC0BQ, directly. Johnny and his wife are the kitters. They put together all the parts and send out all the orders. So they have parts all over the house. So you can contact Johnny directly at JO matlock@gmail.com. So if you have any questions about purchasing the kit, contact Johnny. Don't call me. And I just want to say thanks to Johnny for working with me on putting this project together to do the video of the receiver build and offering the Ham Nation viewers the discounted pricing. Okay, so let's take a look what's in the box here. Get it opened up. And I have 2 kits in the box here. So the Foursquare QRP group has donated a kit to Ham Nation, and this will be, we'll have a little contest and give this away. So let's take a look at this bag here. This is kind of neat because the bag has been sealed in these horizontal sections. So in the bottom part of the bag, looks like a bunch of capacitors. The next group in here looks like a bunch of resistors, and I see an LED. And this next section has some hardware, and I see a crystal and some headers. And in the top here looks like the ICs and sockets, and some jacks, and the potentiometers. So looks like it's all kitted out here very nicely. So here's the circuit board for the project. Again, you can see it's not very large. This here are all these shims, and this will break apart and then stack these together for the potentiometer and for the LEDs. And here are a couple circuit boards, groups of boards, which make up the box. So we break these apart. So here's the top, and these 2 here become the sides, and this here becomes the bottom, and the other end plates. So this becomes, this will make up the box for the receiver. So that's kind of neat. Should be nice looking. And again, I'd like to say thanks to Johnny and the Foursquare QRP group for donating the ZZRX40 receiver kit to Ham Nation, and we'll let George come up with a contest question, and we'll give this away, and you can build along. So that's all for Ham Nation today with this receiver kit build. We may take a break of a week and come back in 2 weeks and start building the receiver. And that'll give you a chance if you would like to purchase one of these kits and kind of follow along. So in the following videos, I'll be building the kit, and we'll see how it all goes together. It should be easy. Thanks for watching. Randy, K3LR.
Kit is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm glad he's going to give a week break in there so that everyone will have a chance to order their kit and hopefully receive it in time. They should have enough in stock to handle all the orders right now, but you never know how big one of these Ham Nation projects are going to go, because generally when we've done them in the past, they've really taken off, and we've even had some delays before because some places couldn't keep up with the quality or quantity of orders coming in for those. But that looks like a fun kit, and I like the fact that there's no toroids on it, Bob. I think that ought to make this attractive to a lot of folks. Not that they're hard to do, but they're pretty time consuming. Well, I've got a couple of things to give away here. First, I want to say thanks to Johnny AC0BQ and 4 States QRP Group for getting Randy that kit and giving us one we're going to give away here and talk about in just a moment. But first, I want to talk about last week's question and prize. And that was, which type of modulation is most commonly used for VHF and UHF voice repeaters? Your choices were A, AM, B, single sideband, C, PSK, or D, FM. And I think most of you probably got this one right, but I know that Steve Shea did. He said the type of modulation most commonly used for VHF and UHF voice repeaters is D, FM. And that's correct, Steve. I have never heard of another type of repeater for VHF, UHF. I guess you might could do it with AM, but FM is what we always see when we get up into that frequency. I know aircraft uses AM, and it's mostly because of some reception problems you'll have with an aircraft at those frequencies. But for ham radio, it's always FM. And congratulations, Steve. We're going to send you this MFJ 113 giant LED alarm clock, courtesy of our friends at MFJ Enterprises. They'll be getting that out to you right away. And for next week, as Randy teased just a moment ago, we're going to give away one of those ZZRX receiver kits from our friends at 4-Stage QRP Group. That's 4sqrp.com to learn more about it. And here's the question. What stage does the let me try that again. What stage does the direct conversion receiver not have? A, an audio amplifier, B, an IF filter, C, a mixer, or D, an oscillator. If you think you know the answer to that, then send your answer to me, hamnationcontest@gmail.com. We'll have a drawing next week of the correct answers and see who wins one of those ZZRX kits there. So now let's toss it to Don and see what's going on in the news this week.
There's all kinds of stuff going on in the news this week, and I think through the power of videotape, or it's digital, it's not videotape, and you'll see me make a really, really quick wardrobe change. So let's go ahead and roll Newsline. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2023, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, August 10th, 2016. The news of the Dayton Hamvention relocating has dominated the amateur radio news of late, but that doesn't mean everything else has stopped. In other news, the FCC is cracking down again on violators. We hear first about one Georgia amateur who the agency described as a repeat offender.
Saying that a Georgia radio operator has shown deliberate disregard for prior warnings, the FCC has fined him $1,000 for failure to properly identify himself on the air. David J. Talassi, W4BHV of Ringgold, Georgia, received a forfeiture order from the agency 1 year after the FCC sent him a notice of apparent liability for forfeiture. The FCC said Talassi had disregarded an earlier warning about his failure to send his call sign properly while operating on 20 meters. The FCC states that Talassi told the agency he had identified properly during the 10-minute window while transmitting on 14.313 megahertz. But the FCC has challenged his assertion, saying that 15 minutes had elapsed without identifying during the time agents were monitoring him. The FCC has determined that he repeatedly violated Section 97.119 and reaffirmed those charges in the recent forfeiture order released July 29th. For the Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Heather MB, KB3TZD.
In another FCC action, the agency has also fined a California amateur $25,000 for intentional interference. William F. Crowell, W6WBJ, formerly N6AYJ, of Diamond Spring, California, has been assessed the full amount that has been proposed in a December 2015 notice of apparent liability for forfeiture. In an August 2nd forfeiture order, the FCC said that its fine is based on, quote, the full base forfeiture amount, as well as an upward adjustment reflecting Mr. Crowell's decision to continue his misconduct after being warned that his actions violated the Communications Act and the Commission's rules, end quote. The FCC said its December notice was issued after complaints from the Western Amateur Radio Friendship Association, whose 75-meter nets had been challenged by Crowell. According to the FCC, Crowell had interfered with the amateurs on the air there in August of 2015. The FCC described Crowell as someone who has a long-standing record of interaction with the FCC Enforcement Bureau.
That's Stephen Kinford, N8WB. Last week on Ham Nation, we met Skylar Fennell, KD0WHB, our 2016 Young Ham of the Year. He's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to exceptional young hams.
Two young radio amateurs from the United States are the first hams to attend the IARU Region 1 Youngsters on the Air Camp in Austria, held July 16th through the 23rd. Sterling Coffey, N0SSC of St. Louis, Missouri, and Sam Rose, KC2LRC of Syracuse, New York, were invited by Glenn Johnson W0GJ of the Northern California DX Association and Ward Silver N0AX from the Yasme Foundation in an effort to learn from the event and hopefully develop a similar event in the U.S. The camp is for 15 to 25-year-olds and is designed to expose young hams to additional modes and step up their skills to the next level. Yoda is in its 6th year and is growing in number of countries participating. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG.
I'm very proud to call both Sterling and Sam friends. Another young friend recently honored is Christopher Bro, KC8YVJ. Chris is the 2016 ARRL Hiram Percy Maxim Award recipient and was nominated for the 2016 Newsline Young Ham of the Year. I met Chris at the 2014 Dayton Hamvention where he had just missed getting his technician ticket. He got licensed a few weeks after that and hasn't slowed down since. If you can't be in Huntsville on August the 20th in person, you can watch online as Tom Medlin, W5KUB, streams live from the Huntsville Hamfest. The website, of course, is W5KUB.com. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at www.arnewsline.org. With Heather Emby, KB3TZD, Stephen Kinford, N8WB, Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5TW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. And let's, oh, look, I've changed my shirt again. Wow, I'm fast. Just like Reba McEntire used to be back in the day. I went to a Reba McEntire concert. I think she did like 5 wardrobe changes. I don't know how she did that. But I digress. I want to talk to you about something that I think is kind of cool, and that's Harry's razors. You know, I talk about Harry's when they ask me to, and I like talking about Harry's because it's something nice that I do for myself. Nobody likes to shave. Shaving is a hassle. But I see it as, I don't know, like I said, it's something nice that I do for myself to pamper myself. I like getting the hot rag, you know, and I put it on my cheeks and I lather up and I do the whole, it's like a Saturday or Sunday morning ritual for me. And I just love it. But big razor companies are a pain. Okay, the little razor companies are where it's at, and Harry's is a razor company with big ideas. Big razor companies have the annoying habit of putting out new models, and then they raise their prices, which are already higher than a cat's back on Halloween night. Well, unlike those guys, that Harry's doesn't believe in upcharging, which is why they make their razors even better, and they're keeping the prices exactly the same. I want to show you the razors that I have in my hand. The white one here, that is the Truman. That is the entry level, the plastic handle, if you will. And the other one here, the silver one, is the Winston. And it is a nice chrome metal handle. Well, now, they have new models of the Truman and the Winston. And I'll pull it up here. Here, first off, the Truman. Now, at first glance, you may think, well, you know, I can't really see a difference. And you probably can't on camera. But the new one, the orange one, instead of having a hard plastic finish, has a rubberized finish, and it has texture on the backside, which makes it a lot easier to handle, especially if you like to shave in the shower, like I know a lot of ladies do. And then you get back to the Winston, the original one here, which is all nice and shiny metal, and it can be a little slick. It takes a little getting used to, but here's the new one. And you can see you still have the nice chrome, but look, you have the textured, rubberized, grippy surfaces, which are just wonderful. But there are also, that's not where they didn't stop there. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but 5 blades, okay? 5 blades in each head. The difference is there is a 6th blade on the end there. On the orange one there, the blade there is for getting in those hard to reach places. Like maybe you want to like do a little sideburn trim or under the nose, or maybe you want to, right here, this line right here, you want to get here and do this. There's an extra blade right there that this one doesn't have. And it's I have not used the new blades yet, but I can't wait. In fact, I'm going to take them with me to Huntsville next weekend, the 20th. And if you want to feel my Harry's face, I will let you come up and feel my Harry's face, okay? It won't be Harry, but it'll be Harry's. It'll be Don's Harry's face, not Don's hairy face. Don's Harry's face. And, of course, kisses on the cheek from the ladies are always encouraged. Gordon, none for you, though. It's got a soft flex hinge here as well on the blade. You know, Gordon's a Harry's guy. We're all Harry's guys here, and there are Harry's ladies as well. My wife is a Harry's girl. Still just $2 a blade compared to the $4 or more you're going to pay at the drugstore. They own their own factory in Germany, make them themselves. Quality is always 100% guaranteed. If you don't love your Harry shave, you get a refund. The starter kit is an amazing deal. It's the Truman. You get the weighted razor handle of your choice. Moisturizing shave cream, 3 precision engineered 5-blade cartridges. Well, now there's 6 because you have that extra blade with a travel cover, and it's only $15. And for a limited time, because you're a Ham Nation person, we'll give you $5 off the first purchase when you visit harrys.com/hamnation. harrys.com/hamnation. Go there now. You'll get $5 off your first purchase. And you too can be a Harry's man or a Harry's lady. And the significant other in your life will thank you for it. Seriously, Dawn, she can't get enough. She loves my little Harry's cheek. And Bob, I'm sure that your lovely Sarah, she loves your Harry's cheeks as well.
Yes, we both love the new razor. The extra blade is really cool. But George, you're in charge while at Huntsville. You have to watch both of them and bring back a report, okay? Because
that's an awful lot to ask.
That is. Is Tommy coming? Because you're going to need help.
No, but I'm bringing Wayne and Vince, and Wayne's a state police officer, so you know.
We'll be good.
Maybe that'll help.
It's cool. He's got his Billy Club. He'll be good. Well, we have yet another incredible video tonight. Randy was great. I'm really looking forward to this. You guys and gals all know how much I love to build, and it's just in your blood, and I wanted to get into your blood. And that was a great kit. Johnny, thank you very much for joining us here. We're going to be doing some things. I know we are, so that was great. But we are going to move out to K3LR and see this incredible station of his. But we're going to see it from a very different aspect. We're going to see it from a drone, a really nice drone, and a high-def camera. So, Brian, push the button and let's go flying around K3LR.
Here's the K3LR Contest and Emergency Operations Center in western Pennsylvania, right along Interstate 80. We're going to take a look at all of the antennas at K3LR today. We're going on top of the 160-meter tower that is just in the bottom of the screen now. We're coming up on the 2 4-squares. These are phased 4-squares for 80 meters, and each one of those verticals is about 75 feet tall. Here's the 40-meter tower, and we're going to go on top of it for the moment, but we'll come back and take a look at all the antennas that make up the 40-meter tower. Then now we're going on top of the DX barn, and that's where the contest operators are housed during contest weekends. Here's the 15-meter tower that we're flying on top of, and then on the left side is the 10-meter tower, and it has 4 Yagis for 10 meters on it, and we'll take a closer look at them here in a few minutes. On the right side is the 20-meter tower, and it houses antennas for a lot of bands, 80, 20, 40, and 15 meters all on that tower. And there's some more vertical arrays, but we don't have time to take a look at them today. We're going to take a look at the hardware that are on the Pyrod towers at K3LR. Here's a 15-meter beam that's fixed on South America. It's the first one closest to the ground. Here's the first of 4 20-meter Yagis. These are 6-element 20-meter beams on 50-foot booms, and there are 4 of them on this tower. Notice that these antennas are mounted on ring rotors. That means that these antennas can rotate around the tower 360 degrees. Here's the second 20-meter 6-element Yagi, and just above it is a 2-element 40-meter Moxon antenna. It's a shortened antenna for 40 meters. The elements are about 43 feet long instead of the 70-foot long elements you find on the full-size antennas. On the right side of the tower, you can see the antenna switching boxes. This switches the stacked arrays remotely from the shack, and they're controlled on push-button controllers right in front of the operators. Coming up on another one of the 6-element 20-meter Yagis. This is the third one in the stack. And right above it is another 2-element 40-meter Moxon that is just coming into view. So we get there's a stack of 2 Moxons here, and as well as the 4-high stack of 20-meter Yagis. Hey, here's a 2-meter ground plane mounted just to be able to work the local repeaters and also do simplex work on 2-meter FM. And at the top of the tower is the last 6-element 20-meter Yagi, and a dipole for 80 meters that can be remotely tuned from 3.5 to 3.9 megahertz. So that is what we call the 20-meter tower at K3LR. Let's take a look at the 10-meter tower now. This tower has 4 10-meter Yagis on it. And the Yagis are on 50-foot booms. They're 8 elements. And so if you feed all 4 of them together in a phased array, there's 32 elements on 10 meters. Notice the first director is very close to the driven element, and that is the OWA design that allows increased VSWR bandwidth. As we go through the 10-meter Yagis, you can see that there are no insulators in these guy wires. These guy wires are made of fiberglass, and so they're non-conductive and don't interact with the antennas. Here's the third 10-meter Yagi. Again, you can see it's on a ring rotor, so it can be rotated around the tower. And as we get to the top of the tower, here's a prop pitch rotor from K7NV. And at the top of the tower is the last 10-meter Yagi. And that comprises the 10-meter run stack at K3LR. Here's 15 meters. These are 7-element beams on 50-foot booms. And there are 4 of them, so we are 4 high on 20 meters, 15 meters, and 10 meters at K3LR. Again, a Pyrod tower. And as we go up, you can see that these particular Yagis have their choke ballons hanging off of the boom. That increases the efficiency of these choke ballons that we use at K3LR to feed the Yagi antennas. There's a 5.8 gigahertz dish that hooks K3LR to the local 2-meter repeater for the club. As we go by the third 15-meter Yagi in the 4-high stack, and here is the final 15-meter Yagi and a 9-element 6-meter beam just to have fun working sporadic E during the summer months. This is the largest tower at K3LR. This is the 40-meter tower, but there are also 4 10-meter beams on this tower. Here is the bottom 10-meter beam. It's a 7-element 10-meter beam, and above it, right above it, is another 7-element 10-meter beam. This tower has 139 square feet of wind load on it. It's a very strong tower, again, a Pyrod tower. There's a 20-meter beam on a 60-foot boom. Here is the first of 3 40-meter Yagis. Wow, are those elements long. The longest element, the reflector, is 75 feet long. Each one of these 40-meter beams weighs 370 pounds. Here's another 20-meter beam on a 60-foot boom, and right above it is a new experimental antenna that we're using from Top Beam. This is a rotatable Waller flag for 160-meter receiving. Here's the second 40-meter beam. It's 4 elements on a 50-foot boom, and it is the middle of the stack, also on big K0XG ring rotors. Above that is another 7-element 10-meter beam. And we're not done yet. Once we get to the top of the tower, we have 2 more antennas up here. Here's the top 40-meter beam, again on a 50-foot boom, and on top of that is a 9-element 10-meter beam on a 60-foot boom that tops it off. You can see Interstate 80 and all of the traffic right off to the north. And so we're going to pan back and take a look at this big tower with a lot of antennas on it. And so we wondered what it would look like at night. And thanks to Greg, W8WWV, for his flying skills and his DJI quadcopter. But this is what it looks like at night at K3LR, basically at dusk. And also thanks to Parky, KB8UUZ, who is doing all the audio work for this video and patching it all together. But here we are, we're heading north, going to take a look at the 40-meter tower here at dusk at K3LR, just to see how cool it looks with the tower lights on. These towers are tall enough that they require FAA lighting, and also the FAA required paint, and you can get a good look at the city lights of downtown Wheatland just off to the north as well. So this has been a lot of fun making this video, and we hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more exciting things from K3LR in the future.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Wow, 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 wow.
I tell you, we're going to have to get Tim on here and answer a whole bunch of questions about that whole thing. Goodness gracious. Gordo, it's all yours. I'm out of words.
Wow.
Wow, I think we all are, Bob. What a layout. Well, I was going to do a little bit of sideburn trimming, but I think I better get going up on the microwaves. And we did see one of Tim's microwave antennas. This weekend, beside the get-together at Huntington, West Virginia, the Tri-State Ham Radio Convention on Saturday, this weekend is going to be ARRL's #1 first of 2 microwave contests from 10,000 megahertz and up. So if you're driving around and you see hams swishing back and forth horns, or you see them with dish antennas, well, let's take a look and we'll explain what you may be looking at. 10 gigahertz, here we go. The 10 gigahertz band is wide open for ham radio operators, and thanks to one company out of Europe, Kuhn Electronics, as well as Down East Microwave out here in Florida, we have equipment already made up, ready to go. And this is a typical 10,000 megahertz antenna. Here's not your typical one, but it's what a lot of the DXers will use. And this weekend, they have folks that will be going all over the Southwest and the United States, as well as Pacific Northwest, Central California, and all over the country. Everyone taking part in getting signals 200, 300, and 400 miles with a whopping 2 or 3 or 4, maybe even 10 watts of power. Well, I like to do maritime mobile, and before the big 10 gigahertz contest here in Southern California, the San Bernardino Microwave Association invites others to come on over, other microwave groups, and test out their equipment. And so we piled everything into the dune buggy, and off to the right, you can see the edge of the dish, but most important are the donuts that the San Bernardino group made sure were on hand for the hams. Now, we were using the Bio-NO Power battery, and this battery is fantastic because lithium iron phosphate, its resting voltage with equipment drawing current stays about 13 volts, a little bit more. So no problem with any low voltage. And all the microwavers line up because they're going to be both receiving a signal as well as sending out their individual signals to be received downstream at an antenna test range, which was really a local park in our local area. And that's Brian getting everything set up for his test range instrument that both transmits a microwave signal as well as receives. And tied into that is some very sophisticated gear, but the gear transmitting to it, ready for portable operation, can be nice and compact. Look at that, gleaming white with a nice LED readout. That's a nice setup for 10 gigs. And that might run 300 or 400 miles. That's my antenna. I got it sort of brushed off because normally it goes maritime mobile, and that's called a Cassegrain feed. And that antenna has talked over 400 miles maritime mobile. And notice that we go from waveguide at 10,000 megs over to the SMA connector that's going to hook up to the transverter. And pointing of this smaller antenna is not real critical. You have to be within 5 or 10 degrees, and believe it or not, it works fine from a boat. And notice what's hanging on the string. Well, that's a little weighted nothing, but the string tells me everything when the antenna is absolutely horizontal to the water, although it's a little tough to stay that way out on the water. But nonetheless, one way of making sure that you're level. And what we do is we go every 10 miles, and that's a requirement to work a station. Again, they've got to move, or you've got to move 10 miles. So you see, maritime mobile, not a big deal as long as the wind is blowing. And that was my plan a couple of years ago. Now, Kuhn, Kuhne Electronics out of Germany, they make wonderful equipment that is nearly pre-assembled. Not totally, though, so you're going to need a microwave expert to do the final switching. Well, believe me, we saw lots of experts here today, and we were all testing to see how our rigs stacked up one to another. And some of the rigs were major in their size. And on the test range, they would send a signal out, and we'd all try and receive it, and then we would individually send a signal back and see who had the best signal. Now, that's Pat in 6RMJ. Pat is a wonderful microwave ham because he's free to help everyone else. He doesn't get so tied into his own gear that he doesn't look around and say, hey, let me help. So, Pat, we'll see more of you in just a moment. But look at this. Even for digital work, he's got his computer tied up, and sometimes he'll see a signal on the screen that he can't even hear, but that's fine for making a CW contact. And again, there's the Kuhn, the 10 gigahertz microwave transverter, and they make them for 24 and even higher. So 10 is just the beginning point. And you do need to supply your own local oscillator, your own transceiver that puts out anywhere from 0.5 watt to 3 watts. The most popular was Yaesu FT817. Here we were comparing to make sure that both had about the same receive capabilities. And they did. That's the downrange setup. Brian's getting everything set up. It's about 100, 150 yards downstream with nothing in the middle, but good old grass. Unbelievably green grass for California with no water. Now, the San Bernardino Microwave Association had experts, and they would say when the signal was to be reduced by 3 dB more, 3 dB more, and then they would judge as to who could hear it all the way down in the very bottom of the noise. And sometimes, boy, they've got better ears than I can. They could still hear that signal by weaving back and forth and trying their RIT to differentiate the tone from the background noise. Then it came time for transmitting. And there's AF6NA Brian with the San Bernardino Microwave Society getting ready to light off his setup. And again, notice the flexible waveguide that is picking up the signal off of the reflection off of his big dish and going to his gear. And his setup did fine. Now, let me tell you, the microwave experts really had the finest in generating signal as well as receiving signal, well-calibrated gear, really from the aerospace calibration to ham radio. It really worked well. And you could really see who had great signals or just had noise. Well, unfortunately, my rig just had noise, no signal, and it required some service. Now, servicing this equipment really takes specialists. And there's Pat on the left. That's yours truly in the center. That's Dave, who this is called Dr. Dave's Lab. And over to the right is Bob. And Dave was nice enough to invite anyone that had a radio problem to come on over to his lab, and he would do the work. And look to the left, and you'll see that Dave has not only experience, but all of the test gear to go with it. Well, he found out that I had a little oscillation several hundred megs away. We got it cured, and hopefully this weekend I will be on the hill. And notice he's got a big smile because he did a couple of other things to clean up some of the insides. But it really takes an expert that you've got to find to get these things rolling to peak performance and to document it on the great gear. So this weekend probably won't be Maritime Mobile, but will be Mountaintop Mobile. And with my 2 watts coming out of that Cassegrain reflector, I hope to work not only cars zooming by, slowing down, but work many of the microwavers. So this is part 1 of the ARRL microwave contest this weekend, and I hope to see all of you out there this weekend, if nothing else, looking over the shoulder of these hams making contacts 200, 300, and 400 miles away. And by the way, the amateur television network that you see over my shoulder here, many of them are also microwavers, and the amateur television network beams through repeaters most of their video images that you're seeing tonight via microwave. So explore the microwaves. You've got to use them or we may lose them. A lot of automobile industry folks are looking at radar up in our bands, the 47 gigahertz band. So we got to make sure that we occupy those airwaves. So that's my story. I'll look forward a week from today to be in Huntsville, and won't be here next week, but I'll see all of you and Young Ham of the Year and Don and George this weekend after next. And don't forget, tomorrow night, incoming, the Perseids meteor shower. Get up at 2 or 3 in the morning, bright and early Friday morning, and catch a meteor or 2. So now let's find out what's happening with my favorite. You see it there, and I'll be on the air with it, Icom America.
Summertime fun. Get out there and get on the air. There's still plenty of time to enjoy the summer shine. Camping, road trips, hiking, and more. Wherever your adventure takes you this summer, make sure you bring your Icom equipment along for the fun. On the go this summer, Icom's new IC7300 is perfect for your next road trip. Revolutionary design and compact size, the real HF fun starts here. RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, SD card memory slot, and more. Why not communicate with the touch of your fingertips? Perfect for small spaces, the IC7100 is the ideal D-Star option for all outdoor seekers. Angle control head and touchscreen for a quick, intuitive operation, large internal speaker for clear digital audio, and it's perfect for multiband and all-mode communications. Don't leave home without this mobile device. The IC5100A is a must-have for summertime travel, intuitive touchscreen operation, dual receivers with GPS, DV dual watch, Bluetooth option, and headset option. Visit icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on all the great Icom radios. And you can tune in and enter to win after each episode of Ham Nation. Go to icomamerica.com/hamnation and register for some great swag prizes like T-shirts and hats. And while you're there, learn how you can win in the monthly grand prize drawing for a new radio. For August, it's going to be the Icom ID880H switchable VHF-UHF dual band transceiver. It handles analog and D-Star, 50 watts on both VHF and UHF, wideband receiver, free cloning software, and more. So go to icomamerica.com/hamnation after this and each episode of Ham Nation and register to win. Sign up, good luck, and don't forget to follow Icom America Inc. on Facebook and Twitter. And now I understand Bob has some very special emails to go over with us.
I do. All of us get a lot of email, and this past couple of weeks, I've got a lot of mail, the real deal mail. And I wanted to share a couple of things with you. First of all, one of the things that I really thought was cool came from one of our net controls. He got a letter from the official observer. And when you get that in the mail, it's like, oh my goodness, what did I do? Well, as we let me get this together here, if it'll come back up. As we learned from him, oh, there we go. As we learned from him, it was a good letter. It was not a bad letter. Oh, what's going on with my Logitech today? There it is. KC7 FPF. He's in net control on the 40-meter post show. And they tell him he was a fine operator. How you like that? I just thought this was too cool. And again, when you get something from the official observer, you think, oh my, but that's not the case. So our congrats to you that you got a clear shot from the official observer. that was wonderful. And I got a note from Bill, and he's telling me that he wanted us all to know that he was having serious RFI issues. And he said he went out, bought some of the two-prong adapters that I talk about. He plugged them into the wall of his power supply, and it solved all of his RFI problems. I'm not going to get into it here again, but maybe we're going to have another major night of ground loops. Everybody wants to beat up on me, but I'm telling you, this can be the salvation, and I get so many letters about that, how this helps them remove the ground loop. But thanks, Bill, for sending that in. It just verifies that this is a science. This isn't something that that Bob thought up. This isn't something that I'm trying to push down. No, it's a science. It all has to do with ground loops, and Bill solved it. And in some cases, you can too. So there you go. Well, we got another really special thing here. I hope this works. Amanda is at her club site. And let's see if we can dial in Amanda tonight and see what's going on in Colorado. Look at that. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Bob? You hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. We're going to have fun. All right. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, where you are, and so on.
Okay, so right now we're at the Pikes Peak Radio Amateur Association Club meeting. They've invited Jeff and I to be guest speakers tonight. And so everybody in the background, wave. Hello, Ham Nation. Hey. Very good. And so anyhow, we're just going over what Ham Nation's all about. And Bob, they're so thrilled to see you here live tonight. And why don't you tell us a couple things? When did you start this show?
Oh, this show started a week after the Dayton Hamvention 5 years ago, and that proper. And Leo Laporte, who has this great network called TWIT, This Week in Technology, had me on his triangulation show. If you haven't seen it, put triangulation 8 and the number 8 into Google and check it out. And on that show, you'll see where he got the idea. And he said, you need to come on the air with me. And I figured we're going to have one show at least, maybe two. So the first guy I called, I wasn't even out of the parking lot of the TWIT studio. Sarah and I called Joe Walsh, my friend. And I said, hey, Joe, because he was the one that turned me on to Leo to start with. And I said, your buddy Leo wants us to do ham radio on his network. And can you come on and be the guest? So the first show was with Joe. I figured, we'll get by one with Joe. But then it went pretty good. The numbers were up. So who the second guy called? Gordo. And it just went from there. And each one of us have our own story. We all love ham radio. But more than anything, I think each one of us want to share this hobby with a lot of people. And that's what we do here every Wednesday night. And I hope that many of you are viewers. And if you aren't, I hope you become a viewer. So thanks for being there, Amanda. That's really great. I hope you told them your story.
I haven't had a chance to tell him my story yet. That's going to be next. We wanted to make sure we got the live show here first. A couple questions from some of the audience members. Jeff's going to follow me here. Sorry if it's a little shaky, everybody. First, we have David, 80QD. David, go ahead with your question.
Well, I live in a house that is in the middle of a homeowners association, and I was always curious about if I could use my gutter system as a radiator for an antenna. Have you ever had any experience with that or heard of anybody who has had experience with it?
Gordo, what do you think?
And certainly the gutter system at maybe below 100 watts will load up nicely with a MFJ tuner or a manual tuner, but you're going to need a good counterpoise earth ground for your antenna system. The problem is the gutter surrounds the house, and inside your facility are a lot of noisemakers. So while it might transmit okay, it's probably going to be picking up a lot of unwanted hash from computers and burglar alarm systems and flat panel TVs. So you might want to try it, and I would be very cautious to make sure that you don't light up the entire building by arcing over to something nearby with a gutter at 100 watts. But under 100 watts, you're pretty safe. But the big problem, of course, is noise that just pours in with such a nearby antenna. But as a ham, give it a try. And when people come over pounding on the door saying, I'm hearing this whoop, 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 whoop on my television, just say, you know, I'm getting the same interference. Maybe blame it on the guy across the street.
It's something catching in the neighborhood.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions for the group here? We've got another question over here. Let's go to this wonderful gentleman. And your name and call sign?
Mike, WV7T. Gordon, I saw you up at Keystone. Are you going to be going to Cody, Wyoming next year?
You know, I was just invited today to Cody, and I'm seriously considering it because last time we were at Cody, we didn't have a chance to jump into the hot springs. And I understand they've got some mighty hot springs in the local area. So, yes, we're certainly considering it. Thanks for the great remarks about Cody. It's going to be a goodie.
I look forward to seeing you there.
All right, I want to know how to get to the hot springs, okay?
An hour west.
Thanks, Gordo. We have one comment, and then we have one more question, and we'll wrap it up for you guys there on Ham Nation watching. Your name, call sign, and your comment, please.
My name is Mike. Call sign is N1APE. Just to comment on the loading up a gutter system, I did do that at a house I had here in Colorado Springs, and it worked great. The trick was that we had to run interconnecting screws and wires between each piece of the total surrounding gutter system, and it worked great. Had no problems with it. We had a piece of ladder line that we could adjust for the different frequencies, and it worked really, really well.
Very good.
So,
okay, and then we have one more question. Jeff, if you'll follow me over here. I hope you guys aren't getting dizzy yet. Okay, name, call sign, and your question.
KL7YY, and this is for Gordo. A flashback to the year about late 1998, 99. You came to Fairbanks, Alaska for our Hamfest up there, as well as Anchorage. And just want to remember a little flight we took in a UH-60 Black Hawk flight simulator. Wonder if you still recovering.
Well, I'll certainly remember the Black Hawk trainer, and I'm afraid that in the trainer I did take the helicopter into uncharted areas that it was not supposed to go. But, you know, this is what makes Hamfest so special, is that you never know all the excitement and the other things other than just playing radios that will occur. So I look forward again, Susie and I, to come on up to Anchorage as well as Fairbanks, Alaska, and see the auroras as well. But thanks for remembering back then.
We enjoyed having you, Gordo. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm over here, Jeff. All right, you guys, this has been a lot of fun. And the The next thing I want to talk about is Jeff and I are activating a national park on the air tomorrow, starting at the Great Sand Dunes. So listen up for N0SZ and make contacts with us. We'll be on 20 and 40. So with that, we're going to say goodbye. This is the president of the PPRAA. What's your name and call sign?
My name is Raleigh, call sign N4HYF.
Thank you. And goodbye, Ham Nation. And Jeff, just hand around to everyone and say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Amanda. Bye, the entire group. Wow. What a great group.
Time radio, real-time radio. I love it. Raleigh, you got to be really proud to have a great club like that. That's super. I'd love to come and visit that sometime. And, you know, all of us, George and Don and Gordo and myself, we don't do it at the same time, but we can visit your club each night on Skype. We do a lot of Skype meetings, and so we'll be glad to do that. While we're in this chat room session, I have an answer from Tim Duffy that somebody asked in the chat room about what kind of feed line he was using. And here it is. All of those fabulous antennas you saw are fed with 1 5/8" hardline heliacs. 1 5/8" hardline heliacs. And here's something we're going to do. I'm going to try this. I hope it works. You have questions. I'm sure you have questions. You're going to go back and look at the video that we saw of Tim's antennas. You're going to have some questions. Email them to me. K9EID at ARRL works. That really is the place to send them. Don't be shy. Because next week, I just got him to admit he's going to come on and we're going to ask him questions about his antenna system. Great. So if you've ever wanted to ask the master, he is. If you're not aware, a K3LR is the #1 contest station. That's it. Anytime there's a contest, they win. Why do they win? Yes, they have great antennas. No question. But they win because they have the cream of the crop operators. And that is the combination that you need. And Tim puts all this together. Well, he's going to be here next week to answer questions. And he would be a perfect guy to answer that question of, could you feed your gutters? I mean, you would think he wouldn't know about, he knows a lot about antennas, and those would be questions we could ask him. So what you got to do, it's right there on your screen, and for you listening on the podcast, it's K9EID at ARRL.net. Send me a note and put your question, and next Wednesday night, Tim's going to be here and he'll answer them. So I hope we get some good response from this. And we'll all be better for it because we're going to be smarter about our antenna systems. So that's the story from there and here tonight. Boy, that was just something. What do you think, George? Was that cool to see Amanda at her club meeting? Was that cool? Is he here?
Well, I'm getting cleaned up, and yes, Amanda was great. But so important that clubs come together, Bob, as Amanda was there at the club meeting, because once a month we all get charged up and cleaned up when we're going to a club meeting. All right, see you all in Huntsville a week from this weekend.
Okay, Don, and I want you to make sure you and Chris don't get in trouble. You know, he's going to wear his hat, and you birds are going to, I know you're going to get in trouble, so be careful, okay?
Hey, I'm putting the link in the chat room right now. See if this works. When I went to the K3LR station last year, I just dropped a picture of all that feed line coming into the shack, and it is amazing. So if you're in the chat room, check it out. I just dropped it. It's a Facebook link to a photo that I took of all that feed line coming in. I don't know if Brian can grab that from the chat room real fast. That's the quickest way I could think to get it to him.
If you
but
put it,
it's an It's an amazing. Yeah, I just did it. At 2107 is the timestamp. It's an amazing picture of all that feed line coming in.
I could grab it if you put it in the dock, but I don't know if I can't run into the chat room real quick.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that right now.
All right.
As a matter of fact,
I'll grab it then.
I'll just put it.
Here,
I'll put it. I'll put it right here.
Hey, Don, while he's doing that, let's talk about the nets. A 40-meter net's going to be, 72.68? Is that right?
I haven't seen that yet, but I saw 14.268 for 20 meters. And, of course, D-Star will be on 14 Charlie. And, of course, the Echo Link will be on the Star Dewdrop in Star, which is 355-800. And Brian should have that link of all that feed line coming into. There it is.
So.
There it is.
Oh,
it's
wow.
all coming into the K3LR studio, K3LR station. Isn't that amazing? Zoom in on that, Brian. That is just a huge wad of cable coming in. And Tim was so gracious to invite me up there to DX Engineering for the catalog release last October, and to invite me out and show me all through the K3LR station. Took me out to a really nice dinner, and we just there you go. Just go ahead and scroll through those, Brian, since those are all on my Facebook page. That's the K3LR station. Tim is just such a class act, and that station is world class. And I got the whole back office tour of DX Engineering. And that DX sign, by the way, came from a gas station in Oklahoma. There was a DX oil company gas station in Oklahoma. And Tim actually found that in Oklahoma and bought it. And so that is on the building there at his station. Just looking at through the one, just an amazing, look at the grounding system there. I mean, just an amazing time.
Wow.
And Tim, thank you so much for inviting me up there. I can't wait to go back. I want to operate from K3LR one of these days. Just amazing.
Well, all of the chat room, I'm seeing a couple of questions now. Have him do this. Put those in a question to us, and we'll be right here to ask that to him next week and answer your questions. So
gonna be a good show.
Go. By the way, I'll give you guys a little secret. You find me lately on 20 meters about 11 o'clock on 20 meters on AM. There's a whole contingency up at 14,330. VE6CQ is the master. He's something beautiful. AM on 20 meters late night. And you think, oh, the band's dead. Nope. There's a bunch of us characters on AM late night on 20 meters. So there you go. We're going to go down and get on 40 meters right now. I hope you join us all. But really, I hope you join us next week right back here on Ham Nation. And we'll see what all we're going to learn about antennas and Contest University and whatever you send us. Send me some notes and we'll be here. Thanks, everybody. It's really been great fun tonight. So long for now. See you in a week. Bye-bye for now.
And see you in Huntsville, me and Gordon and George.
And I'll hear you on microwaves this weekend.